Hello and welcome to Newsnight. The world today is moving faster, as they say, than the speed of sound, owing to technology. In Nigeria, the government has talked about moving the economy or revitalizing the Nigerian economy using technology and innovation. And one group is spearheading that. That is the National Information Technology Development Agency. Is it possible that, like countries like India, this nation, Nigeria, could move its economy to where it ought to be using innovation and technology? Our guest talks to us about the plans that have been put in place and the challenges they've had to deal with. He talks about what is being done to build what they call tech talent, 3 million in the space of 4 years. But above that is to ensure that the technological knowledge and information gets to at least 90% of Nigerians in 10 years. Newsnight sat down with Mr. Kashifu Abdullahi, the Director General of the National Information Technology Development Agency, who speaks to us about the efforts to rebuild the Nigerian economy using technology. Mr. Kashifu Abdullahi, thank you for joining us on Newsnight.
Thank you for having me.
We'll go right in and start off from this point. The Nigerian economy. Now, if there's one thing that the current administration, led by President Tinubu, has continued to talk about, is the fact that we need to get the Nigerian economy back up. And he's doing everything to do that. Yeah. But there are nations that have been known to have gotten their economy back using the digital industry, if I may call it that. So let's start. What is Nigeria's prospect in that area of using the digital economy to boost the general economy?
So for me, if you look at it generally, any economy thrives over innovation. So at the core is innovation, not even the digital. But today, digital has become an inspiration to innovate more across critical sectors. If you look at history, about 120 years ago, there was a country whereby less than 10% of the population had access to electricity. 10% only finished secondary school. Average people spend more than 52% of their income on food. Life expectancy was about 45 years. And infant mortality was very high. If I ask you, which country would you say?
India?
No.
China?
No.
Oh, okay, so help me here.
That's the United States of America. And what really helped them to get out of that mess was innovation. When Henry Ford invented the T model of Ford car, that was to democratize access to cars. And Isaac Singer invented sewing machine.
Yeah.
At that time, to sew a cloth took like 2 to 3 weeks. Not every family has enough clothes. Likewise, a car was like a private jet then. But after they invented these two products, the invention of car led to construction of roads, filling stations, and other businesses sprang up. Likewise, the sewing machine. And let me bring you back to Africa. 20 years ago, when Mo Ibrahim wanted to invest in telecommunication in Africa, people were laughing at him. No bank wanted to give him loan because at that time, we see mobile phones as a rich toy. While Africa, people were struggling to get 3 square meals. Who will buy telephone, mobile phone? And at that time, they were saying there were more landlines in Manhattan than the whole Africa as a continent. And when he started, there was no road, no electricity. He built roads. He used solar to power cell phones. That's how he started in Africa. Within 4 years, he expanded the business to over 4 countries, and he sold it at $4.2 billion US. So that's the power of innovation. And innovation, we look at it in 2 or 3 ways. How can you democratize access? How can you create market? Or how can you enhance productivity? So at the caps of the renewed hub is inclusive economic growth, sustainability, and prosperity for all. And President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has mandated our ministry to accelerate economic diversification by enhancing productivity in critical sectors using technological innovation. So I know some people will ask, why are we talking about artificial intelligence, blockchain, with all these difficulties in the country?
Yeah.
People will say we should wait until we are developed before we start talking about
But it's
this.
a process.
It's a process, and also innovation always comes before development. So, but we inverse our thinking that we should develop before we become innovative. So,
Okay, let me just pause you a little bit here. You've given a background to how certain countries have moved forward. The US. You also brought in Mo Ibrahim on the African continent and telecommunication on the African continent. And in our space, we talked about the directive of the president, diversify the economy, inclusive growth through a diversified economy using technology. The space where we are, a lot of people would think, and are thinking, again, why would you be telling me to go that route? I'm still looking for food. So they go on things, they go online to get jobs. In fact, many Nigerians today are working for companies outside the shores of this country using technology. But you say innovation. So let's balance this out. What they're doing and the innovation that you're bringing about. So where's the meeting point?
okay, so the president renamed our ministry and added innovation to it. You know, before as Ministry of Communications and Digital Economy. Today is Ministry of Communications, Innovation and Digital Economy. So to achieve that, the Honorable Minister for Communications, Innovation and Digital Economy, Dr. Bosun Tijani, unveiled a strategic blueprint, which has 5 strategic pillars. Firstly is knowledge, because innovation is a process of taking idea from inception to impact. Before you have idea, or you can be able to incubate your ideas, you need to be knowledgeable. You need to have the ability also to invent, because innovation, sometimes we interchange innovation and invention. But innovation is invention multiplied by commercialization. If you just invent, invention is a cost center. We put money to invent, to create new things, but we make money by commercializing it. So that's why we have the knowledge as the first pillar. We looked at our competitive advantage as a nation is our human capital. That's our greatest resource in Nigeria. And also we looked at what is happening globally. Globally, knowledge-based economy is what is leading. If you can look at top 5 companies in the world. They are all IT companies. They are driven by knowledge. Today, your company is as good as its next product, and your next product is as good as the people who make it. So that's why we are investing in the knowledge. And secondly, we have a youthful population. Most of the developed countries, they are suffering from aging. That's why they opened the borders, giving us a nice visa policy. They are not doing it just because they like us. No, they do it because they need us to do the work for them there. There is a research by Conferring that by 2030, there would be 85 million talent deficit globally, which will result to 8.5 trillion US dollars unrealized annual value. So you can see talent is a huge market. So Nigeria, we have the competitive advantage of having that youthful population. And also naturally we are talented. We have proven that in the area of sports, in the area of music,
healthcare,
and film making. And even in the IT, if you go to many countries today, there is no research center or institute you can go in the world without having or finding a Nigerian there. So we are doing fantastically well in the IT sector as well. So we are trying to systematically put a system in place on how to harness that. So that's why we have the knowledge pillar. Under the pillar, we have identified 3 initiatives we want to implement from now to 2027. Firstly, we have a tech talent program where we intend to train 3 million Nigerians on high-end tech talent in demand. We have conducted skills gap assessment locally and internationally, and we have identified 12 skills in high demand. So we want to train Nigerians on that, and our intention is to place 1.5 million to work within the Nigerian ecosystem and 1.5 million to work remotely. So we will achieve 2 goals by doing that. You can work in Nigeria as part of the global value chain and in Forex and make a good life without migrating. And secondly, we will increase our Forex because there is also another research by PwC talking about exporting Nigeria's brand, the optimal path to developing Nigerian economy. That means our greatest resource is still our brand, not the natural resources we have underneath us. If we can harness it well, we can create prosperity for all.
Okay, so our biggest resource is our brain, which means our population.
Yes.
You talked about earlier one of the pillars of the ministry being knowledge, right? Nigeria is considered in some quarters inadequately educated. Either let me break it down, maybe undereducated or ill-educated or miseducated, misinformed, ill-informed or underinformed. So the knowledge gap is wide. You've talked about the mandate given by the president and how the minister has broken it down into pillars. And okay, we'll say we're going to look at the knowledge base. The National Information Technology Development Agency, how is NITDA keying into this, and what's NITDA's contribution towards this?
So, NITDA was established in 2001 to implement Nigerian national IT policy. At that time, the focus was to just get Nigerians to use computers. and less than 500,000 Nigerians had access to computer then. And ICT was contributing less than 0.5% in 2000. But today, more than 100 million Nigerians have access to computers. And ICT is contributing almost 19 point something, I think, as of last quarter to our GDP. So you can see that we have achieved that just to get people to use computers. Then in 2011, there was another policy, ICT policy. So NITDA implemented that, and also the Act was established in 2007. And the Act also is clear. Our mandate is to develop standard frameworks, guideline, research, and advise on how to develop Nigerian IT ecosystem. So IT also is evolving, because IT today is the digital economy we are talking about. So in 2019, there was a major paradigm shift from just getting people to use IT to getting people to use IT for economic activities. That's why digital economy was added. And this year, 2023, with the renewed hub agenda, we have innovation also added to our mandate. And all this aligned perfectly well with the law establishing the agency. And even in the strategic blueprint, if you look at it, NITDA is a critical partner in implementing all the pillars, like the knowledge, the 3 MTT. NITDA is core for that implementation. If you look at even the app call for application is hosted under our domain name website. So, but the minister wants to create an ecosystem, not only government. We have the ministry leading, all the MDAs under the ministry, and NITDA is a critical driver. And also we want to get other partners. We have called for expression for interest for partners to join as well, like development partners, corporate organizations doing CSR, like IHS has pledged to commit 1 billion naira to the training. And we have other big techs also, like Cisco, Microsoft also. They have also pledged to help. Google also as well. Wema Bank also have pledged to help all this. So we are creating the ecosystem. We have the partners. We have the fellows, the participants. We have the training providers, because we want to train in all states. We want to create communities, learning communities in all 36 states. And we have placement organizations. Organizations we have signed MOU with to place the participants on jobs, either locally or globally. So we are creating that community, and NITDA initiatives also, we have aligned them with that, because ministries, mostly they come up with policies while agencies implement the policies.
Yes. Okay, so now you have all of this worked out in a way to train and then put to work. But how quickly? I mean, I mentioned India, for instance, earlier. India, within the space of, when they kicked out this, in the space of 10 to 20 years, moved its citizens and the nation as a whole from a developing economy, so to speak, to a developed economy. So the nations, like one you mentioned, the US, they need some digital advice or some tech, they reach out to India. What's the timeline for all of? How are we going to get there?
So
now I know you already have you gave us a 2023 to 2027 time frame. Is that enough?
Yeah, you have to look at your low-hanging fruits, set your short-term goals, the medium-term, and the long-term, which we have done that. We have the National Digital Economy Policy and Strategy, which is a 10-year plan, while the strategic blueprint is 4-year plan. So, but also it's not done in isolation. It's referred to the National Digital Economy Policy and Strategy. But, because of the administration, the first term will end in 2027.
Yeah.
So that's why we are setting our target for that 2027. How can we achieve before that? And also, we are mindful of, we don't want to over-promise, but we strongly believe we can do more than the numbers we have set for ourselves. But it's better to under-promise and over-deliver. So that's why we are doing that. We are looking at if we train this 3 million tech talent and place them on jobs, we will achieve a lot in terms of even addressing our forex challenge. Because based on PwC research, if we can have 2 million Nigerians working remotely for the global ecosystem, Nigeria can generate about $50 billion annually from that. And the vacancies are there, are available. They are looking for people to fill those gaps. Nigeria, we have that ability to do that. You talked about our education system is weak, but today, with part of the revolution of the technology, you don't need to go to Ivy League universities. You can get the same quality of the knowledge it's just click away from you. You can get all the Harvard, the MIT, Cambridge content online. You can read and learn. And also, if you look at even in the developed countries, in the US, those that really made impact, the impact makers, some of them, they are dropout. They didn't finish universities. So we are looking at how can we give our people, our citizens, that kind of content they can read without even traveling to all these Ivy League schools.
But that challenge of the knowledge gap, and that's on one side. Then you have those who have gained informal technological knowledge, as against the formal knowledge. So there are three sides to this. You have the knowledge situation, the knowledge challenge. There are those who have, on their own, maybe through the back ways, gained some knowledge, some digital knowledge. And yet there is the formal digital educational knowledge that's there available. How do we balance this to get this, even going beyond the 3 million? You keep talking about the numbers Nigeria has, which is very interesting, the numbers we have.
Yeah.
But you're talking about starting with 3 million talent, tech talent. So how do you balance all of it?
So, we have the tech talent and we have digital literacy. Under digital literacy, our target in the policy is to achieve 95% digital literacy by 2030. While on the strategic blueprint, we want to achieve 70% by 2027. We have developed the National Digital Literacy Framework, which NITDA, in collaboration with the ecosystem, developed. And the part of the implementation, we want to change our curriculum in the education system from kindergarten to universities. We are also working with the development partners to develop content for people outside the formal education system, so that also they can develop their own proficiency level. We have initiatives designed for artisans, because ICT is pervasive. You can apply it in any sector and increase your productivity. Let me give you an example. In 2019, we conducted ICT training for women Mostly we look at women out of school system. We empower them with the knowledge and tools. One of the participants, she sells kuli. She lives in Suleja. She comes to Abuja every day with her kuli. But after that training, she learned she can use WhatsApp to share her kuli or Facebook with her customers. She knows her customers. So she can share with them. She can send her account number. They pay to her. And she sent the kuli to them. She doesn't need to be coming to Abuja because there is downtime for her. If she stays at home, she produces more. But after produce, if she has to come and deliver to them, that time she spends in committing to come to Abuja is a big time. But now she told us that her productivity has increased because she doesn't come to Abuja anymore. She has people sending to bring the kuli. She stay back at home and produce more.
But that's baseline technological knowledge. That's what you're saying.
Yes.
In creating that balance, what are the challenges you've had to deal with?
So normally for that is the awareness, because we look at it when we talk about digital literacy. Our core objective is to get our people to use the technology safely and responsibly. That's when it comes to how you even protect your personal information online, how to use it to improve your productivity. While the tech talent focus more on how can we get people that can build our digital offerings and services in country, because we need to have that digital independency. We cannot rely on any country to build our digital product. So that's why we are doing the tech talent. And beyond that, because we have them in abundance, the talent, we look at how can we export this talent? How can we be the talent net exporter, global talent net exporter? We have more advantage than India. You mentioned the milestone India has achieved. But Nigeria, we have more competitive advantage over India.
Why do you say so?
We have better accents, we have younger population, and we have better time zone. India, mostly they serve the Western countries. We are closer to the West in terms of time our location. Yeah. And also, if we decide to serve the Asia also, we are almost at the middle, 1 plus GMT. So we can serve both the Asian and the Western countries. We have better accent than India. So these are advantages I believe we have over India.
You were talking about managing yourself in the digital space, protecting your data.
Yeah.
One of the negative impacts of technology on the Nigerian space has been what many will call the Yahoo thing. Many in Nigerian online are considered scammers, even when they are not. There are more positive Nigerians in the digital space and online than they are scammers. But it looks as if that reputation is there. So what can be done, or what are we doing to ensure that is cleared from our space?
So firstly, if you look at it, that's mostly it has to do with rebranding and image making. It's not only Nigeria that there are bad people, but everywhere in the world. So we have to do more in terms of rebranding ourselves and making our image to change that impression. I'm not an intelligence expert or security expert, but some people were saying there are more maybe incidences in Johannesburg or even in the US and other countries than Nigeria. But you don't hear that when it comes to security breaches. But sometimes we go and even say what is not true about ourselves. So what we are doing basically on that, we just finished Digital Nigeria Conference this week, which was very successful. We have so many people that came from the international community. We have investors from the US, from Canada, from UK, from Europe, from China, from India, from Pakistan, all over the world, coming to see the Nigerian ecosystem. And most of them, they are very impressive with the quality of Nigerian innovators and talent they have seen so far. So the idea of the conference is we need to bring people together to give them opportunity to network. We bring people from the international community to come and see themselves what is happening in Nigeria. And that can lead to connection and engagement and conversation that can lead to innovation and inspiration. Because innovation also comes when you interact with someone from somewhere doing something. So, and that also can lead to conversation about policies. How do you get it there? What kind of policies, laws, regulations do you have in place? Then how can we formulate or come up with those kind of regulation within the country? And that can lead to giving or strengthening the ecosystem and give us that international visibility, and the narration can be changed.
But you know where we are right now, while that is happening, the Digital Nigeria Conference, there are many Nigerians who are running away from that digital space. They are concerned about the protection of their data. Indeed, conversations have been that everywhere you turn to, one group is collecting data from you and the other is collecting data from you. If you go to get an international passport, they're doing capturing. If you're going to do your national identity number, they're doing capturing. If you're going to get your driver's license, they are doing capturing. Everywhere you turn to, even the police, everywhere, even the telecoms, they are all capturing. So much of our personal data is out there. So how safe are we in that digital space? So even though you're telling people to come into the tech space, to come into this digital space, that there's hope you can rebuild your personal economy and inadvertently the nation's economy, they are concerned about their safety.
So firstly, we need to change that mindset, because if you don't disrupt, you will get disrupted. Anything you do. And this technology has come to stay. But to build that confidence and trust, in 2019, we issued the Nigeria Data Protection Regulation, a regulation that guides data collectors on how to collect data, how to manage data, and how to exchange data. And that regulation has evolved into a law now. We have the Nigeria Data Protection Act, and we have a commission created out of NITDA to focus more on data protection. But the focus is more about the personal data, because also this is a global phenomenon, not only Nigeria. There is this surveillance capitalism, a new form of capitalism growing up globally, where big tech collect your data, use it for profits. That's why you can see, like we used to say, we thought Facebook or we thought social media is free, while they see us as a free commodities for them. We thought we search Google Yes, we search Google, but not as much as Google searches us. Because it takes information from us and make decision. I could remember there was a time someone called me, then Truecaller popped in, then along our conversation, he mentioned UBA. The next thing, when I finished the call, I saw advert about UBA. And today, if you can go and search something online, and after the searching, go to your social media, start browsing, you see advert about that thing. That means they collect your information, they know what you want, and they
Connect to the other one.
Yes. And if you watch a video on social media, the next thing you see a similar video coming up. So that is a personalized something. They collect your data, they give back a personalized advert to you, a targeted personalized advert. That can lead to manipulation. That can lead to controlling you. That can lead to even controlling who you connect, who you friend, what you love, what you buy, what you see, everything about you. And for example, if someone can have access to your mobile phone, that person can know you better than yourself. So that's why we came up with the data protection regulation. Then beyond that, we also have the national data strategy. That one we are looking at open data. Because also, as much as we need to control the data, to be innovative also, we need to make that data open and available for innovators. We need to make it open for government to make an evidence-based decisions and so on. Then we are also working on the National Digital Economy Bill, a bill that will look at how can we enhance competition within even the tech space, because mostly in tech there is a domination. The big always dominate and take all. Then how can we increase accountability? Most of these big platforms, they don't take accountability for what's happened on the platforms. Then how can we safeguard our privacy? Because we put a lot of personal information which need to be safeguarded. Then we look at how can we protect our democracy itself, because people leverage on the power of technology to even use chatbot, AI, in all these social media conversations. So you see, maybe you think you are discussing with a fellow human, but maybe you are arguing with a chatbot powered by AI. So we need to have a law that can help us protect that. And lastly, how can we transform governance? Because governance also has to change. We need to digitalize our services. Government need to be, the services need to be more efficient and also engage to increase engagement with citizens. So the National Digital Economy Bill is going to address most of these challenges.
You know, some of the things you've listed here are things that bother Nigerians a great deal. And so, protecting our democracy. You're chatting with somebody, you think you're chatting with a government official, not knowing that you're chatting with a chatbot powered by AI. Safeguarding our privacy. Yes, so the data protection regulation is meant to take care of all of that. But the question would be, at what point? Do we safeguard all of this? If, for instance, in Nigeria, we have, again, so many areas where data is collected from us, beyond even when you do your search or you go to social media. We'll still come to fake news and how that's the proliferation of fake news and how that can be curbed within our digital system, because it looks as if this is the way to go. The whole world is going digital, so this is the way to go. But the police collects our data, immigration collects our data, customs collects it, the banks collect our data, the personal data again. Even the telecoms companies, you get a new SIM line, you get a phone line, you have to go and do a capture, your fingerprints, your face, your name, and all of that's captured. Is there no point where all of this is unified? Where does that happen? There is even a national identity number that collects our data. At what point do we have all of these data unified? Plus our birth registry and death registry.
Yeah, I think we have a law for that, the NIMC Act. NIMC is the primary identity or custodian of all this information. But I think all this happened because of gap. I could remember BVN came into play because NIN was not ready to take care of that. So for the rest, I don't know really, but maybe also some maybe started before the NIMC, before the NIN. I can't remember exactly when the NIN started, but maybe driver's license has been there before NIN. Passport has been there before collecting all that. But the idea of NIN is to provide the bedrock for all this. All you need to provide is your NIN number. Then from there you can pull all the information and just use it and issue your driver's license or passport. I know the integration is ongoing. Like passport today, before you get passport, they need to pull your NIN information. Yes, they do, but also they pull the NIN information. Our minister, the Honorable Minister for Communication, Innovation, and Digital Economy, launched a white paper on digital public infrastructure, because the way to go is to have a consolidated digital public infrastructure stack where you can build all your services on top of that. So in the white paper, he mentioned that NIN is key to that, identity, because you cannot have digital economy without digital identity. So if we provide that, it will address all these challenges we are having. Because, digital public infrastructure is about building the super apps that can serve our nations. But that super app should also be open to everybody that wants to innovate on top of that. Not like building e-government to get a one vendor to build everything. That could lead to a vendor lock. You cannot also give a contractor to build your e-government. You need to bring different startups, different contractors, different innovators and researchers to come and build. Everybody must have his own portion. And you build it in a modular way that you can easily plug and play or remove and replace a product. But at the backbone is that digital ID. So the white paper is clear about that, and we have set a target for ourselves. NITDA will come up with the DPI standard by the end of next year, 2024. And we want to build that digital, or DPI, the Digital Public Infrastructure stack, by the end of 2026. So building that will help us to achieve that consolidation.
Again, this all sounds very interesting and a lot of weight as well. In terms of cost, do we have the funds? Because the next thing you might say is, well, we want to build a DPI, as a digital public infrastructure stock, but there are no funds.
So today we have MDAs investing in silos. We do IT clearance for all government IT investment. And from 2019 to date, government invested more than 1.5 trillion naira in ICT. But in silos, if we can consolidate this investment to do it at once, it will really help us achieve whatever we want to achieve.
And also reduce the cost.
Yes. Transformation is a journey, and there are different maturity levels. A stage where maybe we are just conceptualizing ideas, talking, nothing is happening. The next stage is where investments are happening in silos. So that's where we are today. And we are planning to move to the consolidated level, the digital public infrastructure, where investment will be centralized. And also we need to develop the mindset that we should invest in digital infrastructure the same way we invest in the conventional infrastructure.
NITDA created, the federal government created that policy framework for all social media platforms to comply with, right?
Yeah.
Is it enforceable, and are you enforcing it?
Yeah, it is enforceable because most of them we signed. We have an agreement with them. We've agreed on what is a lawful content, a harmful content, lawful but harmful content, all that. And they engage the local fact checkers. But we are not doing it like to gag the media or we do it in a way that is flexible and free and like a self-regulation.
Okay.
Because one thing with it, what we want to also make sure is clear. Today we are allowing the social media or the tech executive to have unaccountable power over us. They control what we see, what we believe, who we friend, and everything. And they can easily manipulate and change our even decisions. So we've seen it when it comes to election, even in the US. If they are against you, they can mess you up. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So at the end of the day, we're working to ensure that all of this is resolved and everybody has their space.
Yes.
I want to thank you so much, Mr. Kashifu Abdullahi. Thank you for speaking with us on Newsnight.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you.
It is quite a pleasure.
Thank you. Today's show's coming to an end. I want to thank you for letting us be a part of you. We would like to hear your point of view as regards this conversation. The social media handles are right there on your screen. Now, should you want to watch this again and the previous episodes, go to our website, channelstv.com/podcast to get started. Until we come your way again, I wait to hear from you. For now, it's bye-bye.